Studio check.
Frequencies check.
We are live on air.
You are listening to the In Fact Blessing the Airwaves. Take the journey into the world of sports, news, entertainment, while embracing the hottest beats on the planet. Rocking the mind, body, and with energy, electricity, and a splash of controversy. Now, without further ado, it's our pleasure to bring to you
the biggest show in the world.
The biggest show in the world.
The biggest show in the world. The SBTV Nation.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Happy Saturday. It's the weekend. We are getting ready for collegiate football, and I'm having a conversation with my man, The Dream. Kid, you ready?
No doubt. No doubt, yes.
I'm beating my chest right now, man. I am super excited for college football. I really am, Dream. And you know what? I'm going to the Yale game after this, as a matter of fact, to watch them get pummeled and
Right,
smoke
that's
show.
what's up.
So I think I'm going to go and bet Princeton today, regardless of what the line is.
I'm super excited.
Yeah, man. So it's all good. So good morning to everybody. We are live on Twitter. This is SBTV Nation, 194 countries strong. Everybody is retweeting our show and getting ready to rock, getting ready to make some money with this massive card today. And Dream, you know what?
Why are you super excited?
Because I love college football.
Okay.
And there is nothing better in the world than having football all weekend long. It starts for me on Thursday when my kid plays freshman football, goes into Friday night. Obviously, Thursday night, you got Thursday night football, you got a couple collegiate games, and then all weekend long. And I've had the hot hand as of late, Dream, so that gets me excited when I make money.
Hat with the hot hand. I find it, we have a new system here where I sound a lot clearer. Unfortunately, though, I'm generally lower than the music. So sometimes when I talk, I know that you can't necessarily hear what I say or you catch the tail end of it. And it's just, at times it can be a little bit funny in your responses.
Oh, okay. Got it. So what's up, man? What'd you end up doing last night, Dream?
Well, I see Florida State did what we alluded to last night. I said, for some reason, I felt like it was going to be a smoke show, and it absolutely was. They beat Boston College 45-7, and I believe on this particular program, this particular personality said, when you give up a lot of rushing yards, it's going to be a problem. As Dalvin Cook had a field day yesterday, 18 carries for 108 yards, one touchdown. Florida State went out there loosey-goosey, took the attitude apparently that Oklahoma took, said, let's go out, let's work on our NFL showcases, and let's show them what we can do. Let's play talent, let's have some fun, let's go out there and get a win, and that's exactly what they did.
Oh, okay. Well, you should have took a prop on that.
I should have. You know what? I should have, but, I don't. I like some props and I don't, so I'm funny with that, with the prop game.
Well, you know what, guys? I'm just going to put it out there that there is not only having a game and having a point spread or having a total. There is a plethora of bets per game. In case you're new to the game, which I know most of our audience is not, but there has to be at least 20 bets per game that you can make, whether it's a player prop to go over a certain amount of yards, whether it's a team total under or over, whether it's a first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, whatever it may be. And there's live action. So, there's just so many ways to get involved in these particular games. And you know what? If you're smart and you study what's going on in these games, you can really make some money. So, hopefully that's where we are, and hopefully that's where we're going to be this weekend, Dream. But before we get into college football, I just want to ask you real quick of what your thoughts were of the Knickerbockers getting blown out by the Celtics last night.
Very interesting game. I didn't get to catch all of it. I caught bits and pieces of it. We talked about Boston and their ability to play very, very good defense, tough banging team. A lot of fouls had. This Boston team bangs you up.
They love that.
Boston will bang you up, definitely. If you go in there sissy soft, you're going to come out with bruised and get your feelings hurt. But a lot of banging. Carmelo gets ejected in this particular game. Boston definitely got like in the Knicks' heads. All right,
they do that.
And you know, they capitalized on that. And by the fourth quarter, you could tell the Knicks were like a rap. Like they couldn't do it no more. They were like, you know what, I'm sick of this crap or whatever. So hats off to Boston. I think we've learned that the Knicks still have some work to do, which I always said that they got a lot of work to do this season.
Yep.
And this Celtic team, you know, this appears to be their style. They remind me of the Chicago Bulls of about 4 years ago when Thibodeau was there.
Okay.
The Celtics remind me of them a lot.
Makes sense.
I don't know if they remind others of that, but that's the kind of team they remind me of. The only thing with the Celtics, I still need one more scoring option from them to really feel like they could step it up that extra notch. And that's what I feel that they lack. They lack that dynamic scoring option. I don't know where they can find it from or who, but I think if they had one more scorer on that team, thank God they didn't get D-Wade.
Oh, no doubt.
Because, I mean, that would have been a nice element for them. You know, dude, I hate saying this. You know who could go to Boston and be dope?
Who's that?
Black Mamba. Come out of retirement.
Oh, the Black Mamba coming out of retirement. I don't think that's happening, but
Son, it will be off the hook. Cole, get your people in touch with me. Let me get you back in the game. I swear Kobe Bryant has 3 more years that he could play and be productive in the NBA with the right team.
With the right team, because obviously the Lake Shows aren't missing them at all, considering the fact that they already have enough wins where they had at this point last year, what were they, December 22nd or something like that, you said? So they're like a month ahead of the game as far as wins are concerned already.
Yeah, but his role on Lake Show and his role coming out of retirement, going to another good team, and I'm on the edge with Boston. I think he'd be good with Boston, but maybe not. He needs to go more like how Durant did. Go to a super-powered team.
Oh, imagine him playing with my boy. That would be dope if he played with LeBron. So, hey, guys, we are getting ready to rock here as far as college football is concerned. Unless, we're waiting for the Dream to come back to us. He got cut off for a minute. So, he's been entrenched more in the NBA a little bit more than yours truly. But I'm looking forward to moving on. Obviously, there was a lot of things going on last night. There was college basketball that came to form last night. I don't know if any of you guys watched it, but I did not. I was pretty busy with, obviously, my son's football game and then looking at a little bit of the Florida State game, to be honest with you. My football is my first love, absolutely. So you already know that. But we will get back to it momentarily and go from there. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch this up right now, and we are going to get into college football because I am ready, and I am absolutely foaming at the mouth for this card today. And we'll get my boy to Dream on really quick here soon. But we're going to talk about a couple of things. There's a couple of games that are going on in the Big 12 today. And there's a couple of games that are actually at 12 o'clock. So within 2 hours, you're going to see number 16, West Virginia, who is 7-1, going into 5-4 Texas. Battle of the Big 12 here. Texas is -2 with an under-over of 64 points. So this is an interesting matchup because I really, in my heart of hearts, feel that West Virginia is superior, but Texas, kind of got their groove going a little bit here. So this is going to be an interesting one. They're 3-3 in the Big 12, being Texas. I thought this game would be more of a pick'em, but I understand the line, and I get it because Texas is playing pretty damn good. Dream, you there?
I'm back, dude. I don't know what I feel. Listen, I got to look outside my window and make sure that I don't got the spaceship from Independence Day above the crib right now, because I'm telling you right now, something electronically in my house seems like it's just going crazy. My iPad wasn't working. All of a sudden, the computer just went out on me here. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know, man. Maybe that's Donald Trump shutting you down.
Donald Trump shut me down already, starting with black people.
Messing with black people. Did you get a chance to see the tweet I sent you?
I did not see which one is that.
Take a look at it. It's a what they did was they put Obama, Hillary, and Trump's heads on Golden State and the Cleveland Cavs of last year. Great.
Oh, I saw that with the block that opened. He's been. By the way, they've been killing that block. Advertising, they've been showing that block nonstop.
That was one of the best blocks of all time, Dream. You know it. I mean, he came all across the court and made it work. But anyway, I was talking about the Big 12 because we got a couple of big matchups right at 12 o'clock. West Virginia at Texas. Any thoughts on this particular game? You got Texas as a favorite, Dream, -2.
Well, you just got right. Did we finish? You finished up with the.
Yeah. I'm done with hoop. I'm on to college football. I had no idea what time you were coming back, so I had to jump right into it.
Right.
NBA is more your forte right now, and college football I am diving right into.
Which is surprising because you're the one that's usually turned me on to basketball in years past.
No, but soon as football's over, you know damn well that the NBA and college basketball are definitely something that I'm going to be paying attention to. Big time.
But you're like one of the guys you're like one of the guys with the nation though with that because like I noticed like so you're doing kind of decent and you had some good weeks in football, so now you're just going to be slated in football. But had you had some bad weeks in football, you'd have been tearing up the NBA.
I don't think so. Because I've been really doing, over the last few years, I've really kind of gathered I've controlled myself. And I've controlled myself as far as, not taking teams that are playing night in and night out nonstop unless there's situational spots. I like the max effort I get in football week in and week out because you're only playing once a week. So, I've been kind of keying in on a few different spots and been successful with the football. So I'm going to keep it going and moving from there. So Charlie Strong in Texas, you think they have any business giving 2 points to West Virginia?
Absolutely not. I looked at this game. There's a couple of games that stuck out on the board to me today. I thought were very interesting matchups. This particular one, I think, is a very interesting matchup as well. Charlie Strong's defense gives up 464 yards.
Crazy.
Whenever we get into those type of ridiculous numbers, and here we go again, rushing yards allowed, 193 yards allowed on the ground. All right? Whenever you hear those kind of numbers and you got a running back like Justin Crawford coming into town, 95 carries, 587 yards with 4 touchdowns, guess what? Dude is trying to say, this could be my shot to get my look at, an NFL team, get a scout to get a good look at me. I expect West Virginia to have a whole lot of success against this Texas defense. I think Texas, unfortunately, just one of the worst defenses out there. There's a lot of bad defenses, but I still think that for what Texas is supposed to be, what their defense was last year, and what they brought to the table as far as their defense is this year, to me, it's just a really bad job. I don't know if the kids don't believe it. I think Charlie Strong's a good coach. I do. Do I think that he's worth what they're paying him? I don't. I understand why they paid him what they paid him, and I kind of understand why they put him there. There's a whole lot of reasons behind all of it, and some of them are political, and I think some people who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. However, that being said, I don't know that this defense or this team has really ever embraced or bought into his philosophy or his style has worked with this bunch of young men. I just don't think some kids can work with that style of coaching that he has, and then some kids don't. I mean, if you have children or you've worked with kids before, you have some kids who can take discipline. You have to just watch the way you discipline certain kids. Some kids need that hands-on boot camp type approach, and other kids don't need that. And that aggressive style makes other kids not play well. I feel like he may not have maintained his presence with this particular bunch of kids.
All right. Well, I got a pretty interesting prop, considering the fact that Texas's defense is so damn bad. Dream, why don't I take a shot with a score in the first 5 minutes of the game, -115?
Damn, you just gambling, son.
I like that.
You just like playing the yo on the crap
I have
table.
seen Texas, right? I've blinked my eyes 1 minute into the game, and I've seen 2 scores. Like, it's been bananas. So I've been taking a little bit of notes, and I think that might be a pretty good play.
Just putting a Casino on the 0-0-0 on the roulette table.
No score first inning? Something like that? All right, guys.
No, because baseball's a whole different game, but I don't I don't love that, but I won't tell you no neither.
I got it. All right, so, well, speaking of scoring, let's move over to the next one in the Big 12. Let's have a conversation about Baylor versus Oklahoma. Oklahoma 6-0 in the Big 12.
Hold on one second.
Yes.
By the way, in case you guys missed it, I love West Virginia. I think West Virginia wins on the field.
You're crazy.
Yeah, no, I like West Virginia today.
Right.
I like West Virginia to beat Texas.
All right.
And I would also throw a splash of money line. And if you have teaser situations, you can put West Virginia, in my opinion, in a teaser. I really like West Virginia today to beat Texas. I think Texas is terrible.
Sounds good. Well, you know what? You want to talk about high-powered offenses and a score in the first 4.5 minutes. You got Baylor versus Oklahoma. The under over 79 in this game, Dream. I like that one, too, as far as the score in the first 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Especially when you have prolific passing offenses here. What's your thoughts on Baylor? Baylor's getting 17.5 points here. They just got murdered by TCU. Where's their heads at?
Yeah, Oklahoma has, turned their season around somewhat. Came out and they were ranked very high at the beginning of the season. Caught some losses, looked absolutely terrible. It was chaos. And now it seems like they've, got their legs back, not worried about impressing anybody anymore and just going about their business as usual, which is a great formula for them. Listen, they've looked good as of late. They've been able to get the ball down the field. They've been able to throw. They've been able to run. They've been able to have a lot of success doing what they do. Baylor is probably still hungover from last week's performance. I absolutely love Oklahoma in this spot. I would not lay that many points. I think it's too many points, but if you put 7 on it, a touchdown on it, I think you're good. You actually probably going to have to put 9 on that. Get that under the 10.
Under the 10. That's probably the move.
Yeah.
Considering, Baylor, you got to just wonder. They thrown in the towel? A couple of losses in a row right now and getting murdered in their house by TCU. That's kind of crazy. So, anyway, moving on here. I'm going to let you select a game that you're feeling today.
Okay.
So, take a stab at the card and let me know what your thoughts are. What do you got?
I already hit the number one I was going to talk about, which was West Virginia. I woke up this morning. I was loving West Virginia right out of the gate. So, we hit that one. We hit that one already. I don't plan on moving around a whole hell of a lot today. I don't really love this card today. But let's talk about a couple of games that I do have some interest in. Number one, the first thing I want to talk about and discuss is definitely number 4 Washington playing number 20 USC.
College game day.
College game day, exactly. This spread right here to me at 7.5. And I know Washington struggled a little bit last week. Gang, I really do not like what this USC defense looks like. Okay? I haven't liked what their offense has done either, but I really don't like their defense. I know they're at 373 yards allowed as far as what they allow defensively. Another team allowing 153 yards on the ground. You got this Washington team coming in. They got to be feeling themselves. Finally moved into the number 4 spot with the playoffs. Got a little bit of a scare last week. Well, not last week. Got a little bit of a scare the week before with Utah. In the 21-31 matchup. They drubbed Cal last week, but they did catch a little bit of scare against Utah. So, that being said, I think they'll be very focused. I don't think they're going to take USC lightly at all. I think they're saying to themselves, listen, we got a shot to make this playoffs and got a shot to shock the world.
Yes.
So I expect them to show up and play well. I don't expect USC to have any answers for them defensively. I expect Washington to have a lot of success.
All right. Sorry about that noise. I don't know. My computer's doing a little madness. Also, Dream.
It's crazy.
It's nuts. But anyway, hey, looking at Washington averaging 48 points a game, giving up only 17, superior in everything that I'm looking at, with the exception of turnover differential. But Southern Cal against the spread on the road, 1-6 in the last 7 games, Dream. 1-5 straight up in the last 6 games on the road. I like Washington to get the victory today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add Washington into a money line parlay. Get rid of the points, because you never know. It could be a little bit of a tight game. So I'm going to get them.
I never deal with points. You know that.
Yeah, I know that. But you do sometimes.
I have. This year I've done it a little bit more than normal, but yeah. I wish that I didn't in most of those situations.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You're like, what am I doing? Exactly. So I am looking at, I think I'm going to go with a score in the first 4.5 minutes in the Baylor-Oklahoma game. And then I'm going to moneyline parlay that with Washington to win on the field. So if I put those two together, I would assume that's somewhere along the lines of like a plus 140 to a plus 150 play. I think that'll be a great play, Dream. I'm on it.
Okay.
That's my first start of the day. That's where I'm at. So moving on here, let me take a stab at a game that we're going to need to talk about, and we are going to talk about the Big Ten. As we're going to talk about Michigan and Harbizzle, who are 9-0 now, 6-0 in the Big Ten, going into 5-4 Iowa. Michigan minus 21.5 with an under-over of 50.5. Now, I've been watching Michigan. Obviously, the defense is spectacular, going back to last year and carrying it over into this year. And, Dream, offensively, they started out pretty slow this year. And I really feel that the offense is really coming to form. I mean, between Peppers and Speed, the whole package. I like some of those. Do you see some of those plays they do where they have like the 11 men in a straight line? Yes. And then they just go right to the line of scrimmage and hike the ball like within another second or two? I love that. I think that's fantastic. And you know what? I think they're starting to click offensively. I think Michigan, if they get that offense going like I think they can, this team, I believe, is one of the best in the nation. I called them to win the national championship at the beginning of the year. So I'm looking pretty good right now. The problem is that Michigan, I know this goes back to before Harbaugh, but they're 1-4 in the last 5 when playing at Iowa. I'm sure they remember that. And I think that they're going to beat Iowa. Now, I don't like betting against a home team underdog. However, I think Michigan will get the job done. I think they'll win by 10 or more. I don't necessarily know I'm getting involved with it. I think 21.5 seems a little high to me. There's a chance they may not cover this, but they'll win convincingly. What's your thoughts here?
My thoughts are, first of all, I don't think you look that good because you said you look good and you don't.
Shut up.
The issue with Iowa, once again, I have to keep talking about what I've been talking about. Defense allowed rushing yards. 176 yards allowed on the ground. Right. You will not win football games allowing teams to run all over you. That being said, for some reason, this game right here has ugly, impossible, shocking to the world written all over it. Ooh. It's 8:00 start tonight. I thought you were doing the home team prime time.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm not betting the game.
Okay, I
just wanted to talk about it.
Let's say. So here's Iowa, and Iowa knows who Michigan is, and Iowa knows that Michigan's like number 2 team in the country right now, and Iowa knows that their season is kind of, herky-jerky. However, they can put themselves on the map by beating a Michigan team. Iowa has everything in the world to play for and nothing in the world to lose. It is Michigan who has to go out, and all the pressure is on them. Iowa has not been a great team this season. They haven't played well this season. However, that being said, I would not be surprised if they stepped it up a little bit and made this into a nasty game. I don't like the 21 number. I think Michigan probably is going to win, but I would not at all be surprised if Iowa pulled the upset here. I hate this game. I'm staying away from it.
All right. Sounds good. Well, me too. So what's next up your sleeve?
I would absolutely love to wake up tomorrow morning and Michigan got beat by Iowa, so I could mark you on tomorrow.
Dream, that's not happening.
Okay.
It's not happening. But move on. What do you got?
All right. Listen, I know this one's got to be sticking out to everybody, and I've just got to talk about it. I don't know if I'm going to play it. I'm thinking I'm not going to play it, but when I saw it, I was like, are you kidding me? Do you know what game I'm talking about?
I don't.
Michigan State.
Michigan State. Who are they playing?
Michigan State is playing the Rut today. All right?
Oh, God. That's a brutal game. Wow.
Listen, I just had to talk about this for 1 minute because when I looked at the game and I looked at the spread with Michigan State giving 15, I almost fell off my chair and said, how in the world could Michigan State, and I know Rutgers is bad, don't get me wrong.
Rutgers is one of the worst teams in football.
One of the worst teams in football. But by the way, Michigan State is right there with them at
I know, but there's no way you could ever sell me to take Rutgers, brother.
They got the same exact record, 2-7. They both stink, and I think Michigan State. I am still wondering what happened to Michigan State this season. Had to just mention it because I do find it just absolutely hilarious that they're giving 15 points. I'm telling you right now, I don't know how they cover that, but I just wanted to talk about it. I'm not taking it. I'm not telling you to take it. It's not one of my things. Just something that I thought we could have a good laugh about on this show this morning because you talk about a BBT, Battle of the Booty Teams.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Oh, big time. Big time. So a newcomer here, my man Key, is telling me to take the Red Raiders today of Texas Tech. Well, I wish you the best of luck on that one, brother, because that one there in the Big 12 is another matchup at 3:30. Oklahoma State is minus 11.5. I understand where you're going with it. I really do because, it just seems like an awful lot of points. But you never know in those particular situations. Anything could go down. Looking at the next game here, Dream, I think this one's interesting in the ACC. Pittsburgh coming into Clemson. Pittsburgh is not that bad of a team, and Pittsburgh's getting 21 points here. Now, I know that Clemson laid the smackdown on the Orange last week, and they're probably feeling themselves a little bit, but do you think that Pittsburgh should be getting 21 points? They're a 5-4 team. They are 2-3 in the ACC.
Some of these games, when you look at them week to week and you look at them week in and week out, start saying, oh, this isn't going to happen, and then boom, it happens. Yeah, right. And then you start saying, this is going to happen, and then boom, it happens. Perfect example was last night. We've seen Florida State. We know they haven't looked that great. We see this big line, and everybody's like, you know what? I ain't going near Florida State with that big line. And I bet you there were a lot of actual people who probably went the other way thinking that Florida State wasn't going to cover their spread. This is one of those games that you look at, and you would say, hey, you know what? Pittsburgh's not so bad. Clemson hasn't been impressive. Against decent teams, Clemson struggled a little bit. You're talking to yourself all this and that and the other, and then you look at this big spread of 3 touchdowns, and you're like, you know what? I think I might want to take Pitt. And you know what I say to you? Not so fast.
Understood.
This particular game, if it was on the road, I might say you got a shot, but being played in Clemson, I just don't think so. Once again, you got to look at these defensive yards allowed. Clemson's defense allowing only 312 yards, and as Mr. Weaver has told you, they have a lot of veteran leadership as far as that defense is concerned and the coaching staff is concerned. I don't expect Pitt to have a lot of success doing anything against Clemson's defense. The flip side of that, Clemson's offense, 488 yards, and Pittsburgh's defense allowing 428 yards is kind of the recipe for Clemson to have some success. Couple that with them being at home, having momentum off of just shutting out a Syracuse team last week. It's hard for me to bet against Clemson. I would not take Pitt with the 21 by any chance. I don't want to give the 21 with Clemson. I think if you throw a touchdown on this and actually just throw 8 on it or 7.5 because you want to get it under 2 touchdowns, I see Clemson rolling. I see them winning, but Clemson probably cover that spread.
Now, here's the challenge I have with this game. If last week, if that did not happen,
right,
I would be inclined to take Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh lost to Miami by 23 points last week. So that pretty much erases any kind of desire I have whatsoever to take Pittsburgh. Because you know what? You go into Miami, now you got another road game, and it doesn't get any easier. If not, it gets pretty damn hard to go into Death Valley and make it work. Now, looking at Clemson, obviously the big win last week versus the Orange, but is this a look-ahead game? Is this a game where they kind of take it lightly, like a NC State or Troy or something like that? You got to have that in your brain as well. It's a no play for me. Just a couple of points I wanted to pick on both sides here. If you were thinking about taking the points with Pittsburgh, just remember they just got murdered by the U. And Clemson, does have the capability of blowing you out, but may look ahead and take Pittsburgh a little lightly here. So that's something to take a look at. Sorry to confuse you and all, but I gotta make arguments on both sides here.
So also for me, Pittsburgh reminds me a lot. When I look at teams and I look at records, I try to look at who on the record to me Clemson's played that reminds me of the team that they're getting ready to play. And the team that stands out to me on this list would definitely be Boston College. Pittsburgh sort of reminds me a little bit of Boston College, who Clemson had a great deal of success against.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Pittsburgh has a way better offense than BC.
Oh, no. I said I didn't. I'm not saying that they're not better. I'm just saying that they remind me of Boston College with the style of gameplay that they play. Okay. Because certain styles, certain defenses, I think play better against certain styles, and I think Pittsburgh's style of offense kind of feeds into what Clemson's defense plays well against. So I think that Clemson's defense will be a very big factor in this game, and Pitt won't be allowed to do anything.
All right, here's another spot. And my man Salsa Man, how you doing, brother, is talking to me about this game, and this is in the Big Ten at 12 o'clock. We're going to go back to 12. And you got number 10 Penn State, who I've been pretty successful with, going into a very difficult place to play. They're going into Indiana. Indiana's 5-4 on the year. Penn State is a 7-point favorite going into Indiana. Dream, this game smells stomachache all day long. I could see this game going back and forth all day and coming down to the final seconds and one of these teams emerging. Now, you got a home team underdog here. Interdivision. Penn State 7-2 on the year, 5-1 in the Big Ten. This team, definitely turned their season around, Dream. So what's your thoughts on Indiana? I know they're a pain in the ass.
They are a pain in the ass. I don't like, Penn State, I know everybody's going crazy. I know they beat Ohio State. I don't think Penn State's that good. I've got to be honest with you. I really don't. I know who they beat already. And yeah, I'm going to give them some heads up for that. I just don't think they're that good. And not that I think Indiana is all that either, but I just don't think that Penn State is, I definitely don't think Penn State is a number 10 team in the country.
Well, I got to tell you, and this is probably why, you know that they are a very, very poor road team.
Oh, of course.
1-4 straight up in the last 5 games on the road. So, you know what? They're definitely outside of their house. Totally different team, guys. Just remember that. And Indiana, I mean, dude, in the last 17 games, I know this goes back 17 years, but Indiana's only won one of these games out of 17, Dream. Nuts, right?
Absolutely nuts.
So you know that they got to have revenge on their mind big time here. So I don't know. This is a stay away from game, but I figured that we would talk about it a little bit, just kind of give you guys a little highs and lows and ups and downs and some stats on this particular game. I mean, Indiana, through the air, they're not that bad. Average 298 yards through the air per game. So, like I said, this one could go back and forth a little bit.
I'll tell you, when I look at Penn State's schedule, I look at the Minnesota game that they won in overtime, and I think that was the catalyst to, just giving them that good feeling about themselves and getting their momentum going. And they rode the wave into Maryland. Then they go and they beat Ohio State, beat a Purdue team, then beat Iowa. It seems like, right now they're on that euphoric high that they can't, do any wrong.
Yeah.
A couple of little bad breaks in this particular game, to me, you know what I'm saying, could really just send them maybe spiraling down as far as the gameplay in this particular game. It's one of those games reminiscent. I'm trying to think of a game. There was a game very similar to this that we thought, you think this team, it may not be as good as they are, going into a booty game and then end up losing it out of nowhere. And you're like, wow, look, see, I told you. Almost like Texas A&M last week, almost.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got an interdivision matchup here.
Sure.
Interconference, rather. So, all right, so moving on here. I'm going to take a look at the card here, and let's talk about interconference. Let's talk about the SEC. We got number 9, Auburn, going into Georgia. Auburn is minus 10.5 points. I think there's a lot of trap games today, Drew.
I think there's a lot of trap games, too. I agree with you 100%. And, guys, that's why I go easy today the college card I didn't love today. I think I like the NFL card a lot better this week than college, but I agree with you, Hat, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. So, we're looking at this here. Auburn averaging about 35 points a game. They have a 7-2 record and struggled last week. Now, are they healthy this week? That's the key ingredient here. So we're going to have to do some homework on that and see if they're healthy, because we remember what happened last week, Dream.
I remember what happened last week. It was awful. And Blake Moore, I know you're out there, and I know you're listening. I got to tell you, last week's performance out of Auburn has me not feeling them today against Georgia, who, if you would have asked me before last week, I'm going to do what Hat does. 2 weeks ago, I would have loved Auburn to kill Georgia. Right now, I do not, because last week was very, very distressing to me.
Yeah, well, it looks like they're getting healthy here, and Sean White will be at the helm as far as quarterback is concerned for Auburn. So looking at the rest of it here, seems like a lot of their players are coming back for this week's game.
I don't understand why they leave him out for the Vandy game. Oh, Vandy's booty. You guys don't got to play this.
Yeah, right. Well, they still won the game, so you got to take a look at that.
Sure didn't cover the spread.
Of course not. Not even close. You weren't even close. You're like, yeah, I only need 3 touchdowns. It's all good. Laughing back and forth with you. So another couple of games here on the ticket, guys. We got a few more before we cut out. I'd like to talk about Dream, unless you have anything before I kick it around a little bit.
No, go ahead and kick it around. I'm done as far as what I'm going to bring to the table today. Like I said, I'm big on West Virginia today. I'm big on Washington today. I'm going to try to go easy and not have my card blown up with mad games on it. Something might tickle my fancy as I go through the rest of the day, but right now that's where I'm at.
All right, sounds good. So one game I do want to talk about, and this team, who the underdog is right now, has been underperforming hugely. And I take it all the way back to the Alabama game where they lost, and they had to lead pretty much the whole first half going into the second half. Ole Miss, Stream, 4-5 on the year, 1-4 in the SEC. Going into number 8 Texas A&M, who had an embarrassing loss last week.
Right.
Texas A&M, number 8, 9.5-point favorites with an under over of 53.5. Do you think the self-proclaimed best quarterback in college football, Chad Kelly, will have some success on his Texas A&M team?
Well, I do think he'll have some success because I agree that he's one of the better quarterbacks in as far as pocket passers. Definitely one of the better quarterbacks in college football. I agree with that. Pocket passers. Okay, because we know the other guys will kill you because of their mobility, which bodes well for Chad as far as the NFL concerns, better than them, based on what we've seen, going forward. R.G. Smith and, everybody else. RG3, excuse me, not R.G. Smith. But anyway, that being said, the problem with Ole Miss, 460 yards allowed on defense, 240 yards allowed rushing. I mean, this is a common theme that I keep screaming about, and I don't know if you guys are paying attention to, but any team that allows other teams to rush the ball significantly and good against them, you're going to lose football games. That's just how it works. I don't care how good Chad Kelly is, you're going to lose football games because the run is going to open up the pass, and you also have the ability to control the clock. You're keeping your defense off the field and fresh, keeping their defense on the field and tired out, so it spells disaster. And here you go, going into a pretty decently coached Texas A&M team looking to bounce back off of 2 disappointing spots. So you're looking for Texas A&M to say to their guys, hey, look, I know what happened, but we need to get our legs back and let's finish out the season strong and buy into what their coaching staff is telling them. This is a game Texas A&M can win because Ole Miss's defense will give you spots to be successful for sure. But you have to stay focused and believe back in what your philosophy and what you've done. I think Texas A&M gets this game won. The 10 is bad, though.
10 is bad.
10 is bad. I think you got to get this game under a field goal.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see it. So one more game I want to talk about here on the slate, guys, is a game that I'm going to in person. And I'm looking at Princeton at Yale today. Princeton minus 18 points with an under over of 60.5. Princeton's got a 6-2 record, doing their thing, and Yale has been brutal, Dream. Brutal. I'm going to get this under 10 points and figure out something to do with this play, but I got to listen, I'm always pro Yale when they're good, and I fade Yale when they're bad. And this team has had situations where they've played inferior teams to Princeton and been down like 35 points at the half. I mean, brutal. So that's something that I'm looking at as well, Dream. Getting involved in that. So you have anything else?
I do. I have one more look. We need to go to the 4 o'clock spot. We've got Stanford. Ooh. Coming into Oregon. Oof. I know. Everybody's oofing when I mention both these teams. Stanford's giving up a field goal to Oregon, and you're into that home team thing that you like to talk about, which I think is like coincidental, personally. But nevertheless, I know Oregon's been bad this season, Stanford's been awful this season as well.
Yes.
Okay? Very bad team. I hate giving this one out because I hate even talking about it because one of those ones that you say at the end of the day, Dan, why did I bring that up?
I know. I'm sitting here cringing.
But you got to bring it up because I don't think Stanford can beat Oregon. In Oregon, I honestly don't. I watched Stanford this season. Their defense has been absolutely terrible. Their offense has been absolutely terrible. But I know you're going to tell me the same thing about Oregon, whose defense has given up 535 yards, 238 yards on the ground. So guess what? I'm not talking about it no more. I'm done.
Oregon has one of the worst defenses in college football.
No doubt.
Crazy. But Stanford only averages under 20 points a game.
I know. I just swear that I for some reason, and I hate it, guys, that I even mention it, but I think Oregon's going to beat Stanford, and I don't know why Stanford's giving them 3 points. Game should be a pick 'em, in my opinion.
Going back to the Ole Miss game, Chad Kelly's out for the season, brother.
Oh, he is?
Out for the season with an
knee injury. All right, get off of it. Let it go. Yep. Texas A&M definitely wins. Chad Kelly's done for the season, really?
Yep.
When did that happen?
Terrence Mack just alluded to that. So thank you very much. And so I think Texas A&M might be the play.
Oh, yeah. Texas A&M's got to be the play. No, that's a wrap then. They're done.
All right. Sounds good. So, Dream, that's going to do it for us unless you got anything else up your sleeve.
Yeah, that's gonna do it for us. Yeah, Jonesy just said that as well.
Okay.
Wow, crazy.
There we go. So that's a pretty good spot for us, I think.
Power of the Nation is absolutely incredible. Thank you guys for that. Yeah, that's gonna do it for us. Let's get out of here, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. We definitely have some ideas on the NFL. I'm sorry I didn't have a whole hell of a lot to give to you today, but some days, there's a lot on this board. You guys go easy because I just didn't see nothing that I love. If I don't love something, I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to give you something just to have something to do as well. I want to thank everybody out there that's retweeted the show. We got Terrence Mack, Chad E., Joseph Del Rosario, Shane Whitehead is out there as well. We got Sarah Bennett joining the party. What's happening? Welcome to the show. Sin City Mavericks in the house. High Roller Talks out there. Welcome to the party. We got Vegas Girl 92661, JDH24, James Harrelson. What's up? Good to see you. Pete for Prez, Christos. The man from Chi-Town, Shy Picks out there. Good to see you out there, buddy. Fast Eddie 72. Good to see you out there. G Rose, Theory Bouchard, Cash Action Beth, Joe Everett, Wayne Yarborough, Woots GG, just to name a few. Gang, we'll be back tomorrow. Got a lot of NFL, a lot to talk about in the NFL. A couple of marquee matchups to talk about. Dallas, Big D going into Pittsburgh. Interesting situation there. Coming at you with some Miami Dolphins stuff, I'm sure.
Yes.
As he feels that the Dolphins are on their way to the Super Bowl.
10-16.
10-16. I love it. And we will definitely get into that rhetoric tomorrow, gang. I'm the Dream. Always remember who you with. Make the most of each and every day because you cannot get this time back.
All right, guys. And what I am doing is I am doing a prop play today. I'm taking the prop for the Oklahoma-Baylor game to have a score in the first 4 minutes and 30 seconds. And I am taking the Washington Huskies to win the game outright. I'm going to put those together. I may even add Texas A&M, Dad, Dream. Be like a plus 200 play. Something along those lines. So, guys, we love you to death. Go out there. Go easy. Please go easy. Don't bet against home team underdogs. And get that money. Let's go.